Morning, dear students. We will be continuing with the lesson, the Tiger King. So far we have seen how the Tiger King was. Tiger Kings had his name, Tiger King, as his proper name is Jilani Jugjung Bahadur. So that is what we have seen so far. And the Tiger King got there is a story, there is a legend behind the name of Tiger King. And the Tiger King, the name Tiger King actually came when he was 10 day old. Okay, Tiger King, the name Tiger King came. So when he was 10 day old. So there was an astrologer's prophecy was there. What was the prophecy? One day the child will die. So this was the prophecy made by whom? Made by the astrologer. And any intelligent person, a grown-up man, asked such a question that anyone can say that a person might die a day, but how the death will be? So that is, if you are able to explain that, then there is sense. So an intelligent question is asked by the 10-year-old the prince. Okay, the 10-year-old prince asked an intelligent question other than speaking. So speaking itself is something very strange, and it is certainly a quaky voice that a child is asking. Okay, so anyone who is born will have to face death, and how the manner of death is always important. So you tell me how the death will be. So that was a question raised by the prince, the newborn baby. And naturally that made surprise among all the people who gathered there. Okay, who were there in the court, the palace court, all who gathered there were surprised at this child's ability to speak when he was 10 day old, and also raising intelligent questions. So both this made them into surprise, made them surprised. So therefore, what we see, and naturally the astrologer was forced to give an answer for the question raised by the prince, the 10-day old. So what is the answer given? And he foretells that the child is born in the star of Tiger. So the child is born in the star of Tiger, and the astrologer says Tiger and not the star of Tiger, the bull, the star of bull. Okay, and he says Tiger and bull are enemies. So therefore the death of the prince will be with a tiger. So that will be the cause of his death. So that is how he proves. Okay. And then everyone forgets about it. But still the story of this child, Jilani Jungjung Bahadur, was prevalent in the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram. So the story was still, it had a deep root in the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram, and everyone knew this story. And at last it came that the power and authority of the kingdom was handed over to the prince Jilani Jungjung Bahadur when he turned 20 years old. So when he became a major, from the minor status, he became a major, and the power was handed over to him. But the whole kingdom took precaution not to bring this news into the, not to come this story into the ears of the king. Okay, the king of Pradipantapura. And and after some time, as the rumor was prevalent, it happened. The king also happened to hear about the story. What is the story? The story how the king came to be called as Tiger King. So the story reached into the ear of the king. Okay, Bahadur, Jungjung Bahadur, and he took revenge upon the tiger. Okay, he had made a revenge. Okay, he raised a challenge that so when small children hear about, even the grown up hear about tiger, they will be frightened. But here that was not the case. So the 10-day-old boy just made a warning, gave a warning to the tigers. Tigers beware. So this was the warning that was given to the tigers, given by the 10-day-old child. And then here he take the challenge and he just moves ahead. Okay, for making a hunt. Okay, the tiger hunt. So he moves and kills the tiger and brings it, throws in, howl it in front of the astrologer and says, "I have killed the tiger." So means the astrology comes to a fault. So therefore, and he just make the challenge, and then the astrologer takes up the challenge and tells that this is not the first tiger that will cause trouble for you. It is not the first tiger, but the 100th tiger will cause you harm. Okay, it is the 100th tiger. He poses a threat. So the threat is coming from the 100th tiger. So from then onwards, the king had a change in his attitude towards the kingdom. What did he do? He just stopped taking care of the kingdom. So everything that was needed for growing about the development of the kingdom came to a standstill. The ruling came to a standstill. Instead, he believed in his reason and wanted to kill the tigers that were waiting to kill him. Okay, so 100 tigers he has to kill. He has to finish before the 100th tiger. He has to kill 99 tigers. So what did he do? He just went ahead and he made an order telling that if anyone is causing any danger to the tigers that are there in the Pradipadapuram forest, their property will be confiscated. So this is the warning that he gives. And there were a number of forests were there in the kingdom of Pradipadapuram, and numerous tigers were there, infested with tigers. And it was actually a happy news for him, because he doesn't have to bother about killing 100 tigers. And he just went ahead. Okay, tiger hunting, went ahead, and he just and before that we find that he poses a question in front of the astrologer. If I kill the 100th tiger, okay, if I kill 100 tigers, what will you do? That was a question raised by Jungjung Bahadur to astrologer. So astrologer told that I will set my books of astrology on fire, and I will cut my tuft and become an insurance agent. So as I have told you, insurance and prophecy, astrology go in two different directions. So he will become a reasonable human being than believing in the astrology. So this is what he tells. Okay, and then he just he continues. He start killing tigers after tigers, and don't think that. And the narrator tells that it was not so easy for the king to kill tigers, 100 tigers. It was not so easy for him. He had missed the bullet. He missed the aim. The tigers were missed from the bullet, escaped from the bullet, and they leapt upon him, and he even had to fight with bare hand, without weapons. See how dangerous it would be. And whatever it may be the situation, the king came out finally as victorious. Okay, whether it is with a bullet or without bare-handed fight, what we call as a duel. Okay, whatever it may be, the final victory was in the side of the king. And we come across another thing. So it is there we had stopped to address it. So sometime there were times when the king had even there was a threat threat for his kingdom. Okay, even his throne was on a threat. Okay, there were times when the throne, his power was even threat. But Jung Bahadur had not a second thought. Had no second thought. He just went ahead with it, and we'll just see it how he had managed to overcome the threat that was posed by the official. Another time he was in danger of losing his throne. So there was a time. So sometimes his life was on threat, and sometimes even his throne was on danger. A high-ranking British officer visited Pratibandhapuram. So an officer from the British army was there to visit. Okay, so there were people, officers were there, and they visited a British officer. So that is of a high rank. Okay, British officer of a high rank visited Pratibandhapuram. And then what happened? He was very fond of hunting tigers. So what he was interested in, he wanted to kill tigers. Okay, so he wanted to kill tiger. So that was his target. Okay, he wanted to kill tigers. So, and he actually wanted to kill tigers, what he wanted actually, he was very fond of hunting tigers and fonder of being photographed with the tigers he had shot. And then he wanted a photograph to be taken with the gun. Okay, the gun that was in his hand with one leg on the top of the tiger that was flying. Okay, so this is what he was wonder about. Okay, so he actually wanted to. As usual, he wished to hunt tigers in Pratibandhapuram. So he was very fond of killing tigers and then he was fonder of being photographed. Okay, with the tiger that he had killed. So he was fonder, and therefore he wanted to shoot tigers. So he was wished to hunt tigers in Pratibandhapuram too. But the Maharaja was firm in his resolve. He refused permission. But Maharaja Jung Bahadur was so firm that he doesn't go away from the rule that he had put up. Okay, so nobody will be permitted to kill tigers in his kingdom except the king himself. So he refused. Instant he said, I can organize any other hunt. If you want, you can have any other hunt. You may go for a boar hunt. Okay, just go for, what is a boar? Boar is actually a pig. Okay, you can go for a pig hunt. You may conduct a mouse hunt. Okay, so mouse hunt, that is, and you are ready for even mosquito hunt. You can even go for a mosquito hunt. But tiger hunt, that is impossible. The king says. Okay, tiger hunt is impossible. So the king said impossibility of tiger hunt. Tiger hunt was something impossible from the part of the people who are there, other than the king, no one else. But tiger hunt, that is impossible. The British officer secretary sent word to the Maharaja through the Diwan, and the Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. So it was actually a shame for the British officer. Okay, so British officer approached the king of Pratibandhapuram through his secretary. Okay, so the secretary met the Divan. Divan maybe we can say as a secretary to the king. So he approached the secretary of the British officer, approached the Divan of the king of Pratibandhapuram, and he said, it is not necessary that the British officer should kill the tiger himself. What is the condition that he has said? Maharaja could do there is a term called as Durai. Durai means leader. Durai here is meant as the British officer. So it is not necessary that the British officer should kill the tiger. Instead, the Maharaja will do it. Okay. Maharaja will kill the tigers, and what would be done? Okay, then Durai himself did not have to kill the tiger. The Maharaja could do the actual kill. So the king can do the killing side. The hunting side can be done by. And what was important to the Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. So this is actually, so just get the photo of it. Okay. So holding the gun near the and keeping the leg and the gun over the dead tiger. So that is all what he wanted. Okay, gun standing over the tiger's carcass. So this is actually, carcass is actually dead body. Okay, lifeless body. But the Maharaja would not agree even to this proposal. So Maharaja do not want to anyway agree with the proposal of neither killing nor taking a photograph. So he did not want to take it. If he relented now, what is meant by relented? If he just showed some kind of willingness. Okay. Relent means agreement. So he just made an agreement now with, so there will be a number of people who will be coming after him and asking for the same thing. So therefore he did not want to have such a situation rising in future too. So if the first officer is just denied the permission, naturally no one else will be asking. So therefore he can have a comfortable time in future. So that's what he wanted. So if he relented now, what would he do if other British officer turned up to tiger hunts? If others also coming for tiger hunt, naturally he will have to his kingdom will be in threat, and there will be problems will be there. Because he prevented a British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaja stood in danger of losing his kingdom itself. Okay, just see. So that is a threat that he had faced. What happened? So there was a threat from the side of the British officer who was really denied the permission to kill the tiger, and he and the kingdom, the throne was in danger. The power of his throne or his power as the king of the Pratibandhapuram kingdom was on danger, threat. Okay, so then we see what takes place next is very interesting. The Maharaja and the Divan held deliberations over this issue. Okay, they discussed over the issue. Okay, how to solve the issue? Why? He has caused trouble for a British officer, and naturally he will have to face the consequence. The Maharaja has to face the consequence of pinching the ear of the British officer. Okay, so and how he has to, so deliberations went up, so consultation went after again and again between the king and Divan, and they finally reached a conclusion. That is very funny. Okay, how they solved the issue. As a result, a telegram was dispatched forthwith to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. Okay, so immediately a telegram was sent to a jewelry which was set up by Britishers, that was in Calcutta. So jewelers were given the, and say what was the message that was given? send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs. So that was it. Diamond rings. You send samples of diamond rings. Okay, so that was really worth. So ring that expensive diamond rings. Expensive diamond rings. So what is the purpose of it? We will see how he has handled the situation. So samples of diamond rings. So expensive diamond rings of different designs. Some 50 rings arrived. Almost 50 numbers of rings came to the palace. It reached there in the palace. And the king and the minister expected Duraisani to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. So what was the expectation of the king and the divan? So they thought that the king, the Duraisani, the British officer's wife, Mrs. of the British officer, would choose one among them and send the rest back to the king. Okay, what happened? Really. So the king and the minister expected the Duraisani to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. Within no time at all, the Duraisani sent her reply, "Thank you very much for your gifts." Okay, so what the king expected? Choosing one out of these 50. And what happened? Duraisani took all the 50 and she gave thanks for the gifts. Okay, 50 rings. Okay, so she gave thanks for the rings that was sent. So in 2 days, a bill for 3 lakh of rupees came from the British jewelers. 3 lakh rupees he had to spend for that. The Maharaja was happy that though he had lost 3 lakhs of rupees, he had managed to retain the kingdom. So that is important for the Maharaja. Money is not, that doesn't matter. What he could do was, he was very happily, he could maintain maintain his throne. Okay, so though it was in danger, he managed. Because of his shrewdness, he was able to make changes in his attitude, and he reached the British officer through the wife. So, and that is how he has made the threat lightened. Okay, so that is how he was able to do that. And then there comes a problem. So it was something like this. He continued killing the tigers, and there came a time when he was unable to find out a tiger for killing. In the kingdom of Pratibandhapuram, in the forest of Pratibandhapuram, no more tigers were available. Okay, so he just almost he killed 70 tigers. So then an unexpected event occurs. What is it? That there is no more tigers left for killing. Okay, and the king thinks whether they have started family planning. Okay, and that is the reason, one of the reasons for not having more number of tiger population in the forest. That is one of the reason he raises. And second maybe the reason he think they might have emigrated to other kingdoms, so that they want all to be killed by British people, not by an Indian. So that may be another reason that he thinks might have happened. So he just come to, so this is a problem that he has faced. And how he is going to solve this issue, we will discuss in the next class. So go through the textbook, and you are supposed to submit your notes to this. I just conclude today's session. Thank you very much.